time to put all of these back together. This is the complete upper part, basically anything except this and the trigger box. So you will not see these two in this video. It's the barrel. Let's get started with first the piston and one of the trickier parts. If you remove this one, I will show you how you can put it together. Take a Allen key, something that's not too sharp around the edges, and we actually have to force it back in. That's why I said we should not really remove it, but if you do, this is how you put it back together. You actually have to put quite some force until it just gives in and you can feel it snap in place. And as you can see, now it's holding again. That's how you can do it with these Allen keys, even simple tools. If you have something more around it, more bigger, that you can still fit in the hole, use that to not rip the rubber. All right, now we will first put one of these gliding rings, the plastic ones. That one will go on first. Now one of these aluminum quote-unquote weights. We also have stainless steel weights if you want to mess with it. If you are not a tech, I would recommend not doing that because it will spare you some teching trouble. We have it locked in place. Now we will put the other aluminum quote-unquote weight. It's aluminum, it's not really heavy. And now we can put the other glide ring. Once we have that, we put the piston end cap on it, the stainless steel one, and we lock everything in place first. Before we screw this back, we just make sure that it's nice and tight so it doesn't come undone. All right, that should do it. If you will not disassemble this, not a bad place to put some screw glue on there if you want to make extra super sure that this one just doesn't come loose. We never had that happen before, so we don't think it's super necessary to put screw glue, but for your peace of mind, you can put screw glue here if you want to do so, and you will not really be removing it to, for example, change the weight of the piston. All right, now we lock it in place. You can also use some bigger pliers or a wrench if you have it. I also never had this come loose, so hand tight should be enough. All right, now we have the piston and we can start assembling the cylinder. So first we'll go the spring guide rod, then the spring. We make sure it's on there, which it is. Now the piston, and last but not least, the cylinder head. We will screw it as much as we can, and now we tighten it with this magazine, fake magazine tool. That's how I like to call it. If you don't have this, maybe because you lost it, you can also use needle nose pliers or Leatherman skeleton tool, my favorite EDC tool ever, and you can tighten it. Make sure not to scratch the tip, because that, if there would be a sharp scratch, it would damage the, or it could damage the BBs when you are chambering them. So make sure it's nice and rounded without any marks. Now we can actually put the firing pin indicator with the red facing, well, the sky. We put it in. Maybe it's not 100% aligned, the spring guide. Just wiggle it in. It will slide right in. Now it's time for the bolt handle. And now we have to be a little careful. It might be easier for us to actually first put in this and kind of imagine we need it on the right side. So when I'm caulking it, it's going to be on this side. So it's going to go in like this. And we unscrew to screw it on. Optional if you want, and if you will not be switching it to left-handed, chances are you will only use one side. You can screw glue it here to make sure it just stays there. Since it's a reverse thread, it's not really super needed. Now we just put it on this loosely. We double check that we have it on the right side or the left side if you need left-handed. And we will put the bolt cap or the end cap on it. We have two little springs that will go into these holes and the two pins. One side is rounded, one side is flat. the rounded one will be facing up and the flat one will touch the springs. Once we have that, we will make sure that the groove is on the bottom, and now we will place it on like so. Now here you will notice these two triangles are facing up. That's the top side of the bolt. And the rounded one is on the bottom. We will take the screw from the back. Good time to actually put screw glue on, since this is a place I would really recommend you to add some. I will do that myself, because if you don't, it will probably happen that it will come loose. Once you disassemble this once, I would highly recommend to put screw glue here. All right, so we will do the same thing again. Groove facing down. We put it on, and now this goes in here, and we screw it in with a big flathead screwdriver, and we lock it properly. Don't use super too much force, but also be a little generous here. We don't want it to come loose. All right, there we go. And as you can see, the bolt handle is nice and free, even though we cranked it up. It's one of the small little tweaks that we did to the SSG11, because some other rifles, if you tighten them, you are actually not able to lift it because nobody thought about the spacings. It's a neat little things that you appreciate along the way. All right, the cylinder is completely finished. I will put this aside because we will probably not need it. And we will move on to the barrel and the hop-up chamber. We will take our hop-up bucking, and if you look inside, there is actually no nub whatsoever. It uses the side of the bucking, which is nice because if it gets ever worn out, you can just literally twist it 180 degrees and you have a fresh new bucking. So installation is also easy because you don't need to align anything at all. Now, to make it easier to go into the chamber, if you watch the disassembly, I mentioned that it's rather tight because that allows us to get the 100% air seal, so no air leaks whatsoever. For that, it needs to be tight, therefore it's a little bit harder to get it in. Now, to make it easier, you can put a tiny bit of silicone oil or like Teflon grease, something that doesn't eat rubber away, on the outside. Only the outside. Don't get anywhere near the inside because that could mess with the accuracy. If you do, you will need to clean it. Now I will wipe your fingers, and now we can proceed with putting it in. Now it's a good idea to align everything, so you should be able to see the hop-up window. That's our top. This is how the top part looks, so let's just make sure we have the barrel in the right orientation. I'm gonna slowly put it in. The silicone oil actually makes it rather easy. And here we need to make sure that we are all nice and aligned. So here is a groove on the barrel. Hopefully you can see the groove. There is a groove which should match exactly with this groove in the hop-up chamber. That's how you can verify that we are 100% aligned and your barrel is not twisted in a weird way. Now at this point I would suggest to lock it in place so we are sure that everything is perfectly aligned and it cannot move anymore. So I'm gonna tighten this one without twisting the barrel itself. Just make sure that it's nice and tight, and now the whole thing is locked in place. It's not gonna shift anymore. And we can continue the assembly. Now, before we put in this small black piece, make sure you have it in the right orientation. If we look closely, you will see that here is a bigger ramp and here is a smaller ramp. If we look sideways, maybe that's gonna be easier to see. Let me hold it like this. You see, on the right side there is a bigger ramp, on the left there is a smaller ramp. The bigger ramp on the right should be facing the cylinder, like so. There is this bigger ramp on the right side because when this nozzle goes in, it actually needs to lift it like so. If you would put it in the other way, it will not work and you will not be able to put the cylinder into the chamber. So make sure the bigger ramp is on the right, the cylinder side. Then this spring will go in like so, the bigger part on the bottom, and then we will close everything with this little red cap. Get it started with your fingers, and now we just tighten it, not too much, no need to put too much pressure on this. And at this point, this whole assembly is ready to go into the barrel. So we slide it in. Now let's not forget about our centering ring. So I'm gonna put it somewhere in the middle. Let's see if it will go in. Yes, it does. We will need to help it a little bit with something a little bit longer. There we go. We are almost there, nice and aligned. Make sure that the centering ring is somewhere in the middle. It doesn't need to be exact, but about this length, maybe a little bit more. Push it to about middle. Now make sure that this hole is aligned with the barrel and the chamber, or the chamber hole is aligned with the barrel hole, and we can put our little block for the magazine back in place. And we have two screws that are Phillips head that will secure it in place. These screws are exactly the same length, so you don't have to think about it too much. Which one goes where? Simply screw it in. And I like to use 3 fingers to make it tight. Don't over tighten it. Once you strip the threads, that's a problem. Even though it's CNC chamber, just don't put too much pressure on it. Once it's tight, you're done, and we can put this button assembly back in place. So it's the one that allows you to remove the magazine. It kind of clicks on there and also stays there. It doesn't click, you can feel it kind of friction fit. You will feel it. It just stays. All right, now we put the hop-up holder with the hop-up wheel back in place. Now here we have actually something important, and that is the orientation of this silver part. You will notice, if we zoom enough in, hopefully we'll be able to see it, there is a little shelf. One side is taller and the other side is less tall, it's just shorter. Now the BB is coming in and it first contacts the part that is less tall, the shorter one. Therefore, the shorter one will be on this side. That's how we want to place it inside of the hole. Just make sure you have exactly the same setup. You will look at the shelf. The taller part will be on the left. The less tall, the shorter part will be on the right. And this is exactly how it will go inside. All right, there we go. Make sure the O-ring is still here. This O-ring, if you don't have it here, if you just don't have it at all, check under here. Maybe it's hiding in there. It stayed there from the disassembly. And now we just put it back on. And we tighten these 2 screws, and that's almost done for the upper. The last thing will be the barrel end cap. So tighten these 2. Again, don't use too much force. It's absolutely not necessary. End cap, in order to screw it in, we actually need to unscrew. So if we look from this end, this is how it will go in. Just like that. All right, now we have it almost completely assembled. We do a test now. Depending if we put this one in correctly, if you follow the instructions correctly, we will be either able to put in the cylinder all the way in or not. So now be gentle, don't push it in too hard. And if you can see, the nozzle going in smoothly, like so, then it's correct. If it just gets stuck and the black plastic piece is not getting out of the way, you cannot put the cylinder all the way in. You have to go back to that plastic piece and flip it around, because one of the shelves is steeper, the other one less, and if it's the wrong way around, this is what happens. You cannot close it completely. Now at this point, everything is correct and we have the complete upper done. For the sake of completeness, I'm gonna add all of the pieces together to show you how you can finish it up. But again, this videos or the Academy series will be a total of 6 videos. I think the highest chance that you will be disassembling something is the upper. So let's finish it up in this video. I'm gonna show you how to put the rest together to have a firing gun. So we take the trigger box and we screw it in. Here you can choose to put screw glue if you want to make sure that it will never come loose. I didn't find it necessary, and it's also super easy to do it afterwards if need to be. So I'm not gonna put it in, but it's definitely an option. And now we just align the stock with it. You didn't have to force anything, or I didn't have to force anything. It just kind of snaps in place. Make sure that everything is aligned. And we have a couple of different screws. This big one will go here to the front. The silver one will go in the middle with the help of this tool. So let's tighten these two, and the last one will be behind the cylinder, or the cylinder end cap. There we go. Last one goes right here. And at this point, we are done. We just do one test shot, no magazine in. Let's aim at our target here. And with that, you successfully assembled the SSG11. Also, don't forget to put back in the fake magazine tool. And at this point, you successfully assembled the SSG11.